Adrian Peterson's career is a testament to what can be achieved through sheer willpower, resilience, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. From his humble beginnings in Palestine, Texas, to becoming one of the NFL's all-time greats, his story is one of overcoming adversity at nearly every turn. While Peterson's on-field accomplishments are well documented, the journey that led him to break records and etch his name into football history is equally remarkable. Growing up in a small Texas town, Adrian was surrounded by athleticism. His mother, Bonita, was a standout sprinter and long jumper, while his father, Nelson, was a talented basketball player who dreamed of playing professionally. However, Nelson's career was tragically cut short after a mishap involving a gun, which left his brother severely injured. This event left a lasting impact on the family and helped shape Adrian's strong sense of responsibility and work ethic. Despite these challenges, his parents instilled in him a love for sports and a commitment to discipline, even if it came in the form of harsh punishments. Adrian's early years were marked by a series of traumatic events that could have easily derailed his life. At just 7 years old, he lost his older brother Brian to a drunk driver. It was a devastating blow that left a permanent scar on Adrian's heart. But instead of letting this loss define him, Adrian channeled his grief into athletics, finding solace in the sports that brought him joy and helped him stay focused. His bond with Brian was a key motivator throughout his life, and he often said that he played with his brother's memory in mind, dedicating every accomplishment to him. Things didn't get any easier as Adrian grew older. When he was just 13, his father Nelson was sent to prison for 10 years on charges related to a drug ring. This was yet another devastating blow, but Adrian found refuge in his athletic pursuits. He played football, basketball, and ran track, and quickly became a star athlete. His talents were impossible to ignore, and as he reached high school, he was recognized as one of the top football prospects in the nation. Schools from all over the country wanted him, and his decision to play for the University of Oklahoma was a turning point in his career. At Oklahoma, Peterson's natural talents blossomed. As a freshman, he finished second in the Heisman Trophy race, a rare feat for a first-year player. His 1,925 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns were remarkable, setting an NCAA freshman record for rushing yards in a season. The following years were equally impressive, though injuries began to plague him. Despite playing only 7 games in his junior year due to injury, he still posted over 1,200 yards rushing and 12 touchdowns. It was clear that Peterson had the potential to be one of the best, and his decision to forgo his senior year and enter the NFL draft in 2007 was not a surprise to anyone. The Minnesota Vikings were the beneficiaries of Adrian's talents, selecting him with the 7th overall pick in the 2007 NFL draft. In his rookie season, Peterson made an immediate impact, rushing for 1,341 yards and 12 touchdowns. His power and speed were unlike anything the league had seen in a long time. He ran with a ferocity that was almost unmatched, and his ability to break tackles and accelerate through the open field was jaw-dropping. Peterson quickly earned a reputation as one of the most dangerous running backs in the NFL, and he was named Defensive Rookie of the Year for his efforts. However, it was clear that Adrian's success wasn't just about his athleticism, it was about his mentality. Peterson's relentless pursuit of perfection and his ability to overcome adversity became the cornerstone of his career. Whether it was overcoming injuries, proving his doubters wrong, or simply fighting through exhaustion, Peterson had an unmatched drive. His rookie season was only the beginning. In 2008, he followed up with another dominant performance, rushing for 1,760 yards and leading the league in rushing yards per game. The 2009 season saw him set the NFL record for the most rushing touchdowns in a season, with 18, and solidified his place among the league's elite players. As much as Adrian Peterson's career was defined by his incredible on-field achievements, it was also marked by some serious setbacks, particularly injuries. In December 2011, Peterson tore both his ACL and MCL on Christmas Eve during a game against the Washington Redskins. It was one of the most gruesome knee injuries the NFL had seen in years, and the recovery time was expected to be lengthy. Doctors and pundits alike doubted that Peterson could ever return to his previous form. Some even suggested that he might be better off sitting out the following season to allow his body to fully heal. But Adrian Peterson was never one to take the easy way out. He publicly declared that he would return to the field for the 2012 season, and he kept his word. Not only did he come back, but he returned with a vengeance. His recovery was nothing short of miraculous. Despite the severity of his injury, Peterson had the best season of his career, rushing for 2,097 yards, just 8 yards shy of breaking Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record of 2,105 yards. He won the NFL MVP award that season, the first running back to do so since 1997, and solidified his place in football history as one of the best to ever play the position. That 2012 season is often cited as one of the most impressive individual performances in NFL history. Peterson ran through defenses like a battering ram, carrying the Minnesota Vikings on his back to a playoff berth. His performance in the final game of the regular season against the Green Bay Packers was particularly memorable. The Vikings were on the verge of making the playoffs, but they needed to win, and Peterson needed to break the 2,000-yard mark to secure his place among the all-time greats. He did just that, and then some, rushing for over 200 yards in the game and surpassing 2,000 total rushing yards for the season, a feat only accomplished by one other player in history at the time, the legendary Eric Dickerson. Despite coming up short of the record, Peterson's performance in that game was a testament to his resilience and determination. Not only did he break multiple individual records, but he also put the Vikings in position to win and secure a playoff spot. He was the driving force behind the team's success that year, and it was clear that without him, the Vikings would not have been in contention for the playoff. His effort in the final minutes of that game, where he carried the ball several times to set up the game-winning field goal, was a perfect representation of who Adrian Peterson was as a player: relentless, determined, and willing to do whatever it took to win. After the 2012 season, Peterson's career continued for several more years, though he would never quite replicate the magic of that season. He continued to play at a high level with the Vikings before eventually moving on to play for the New Orleans Saints, Arizona Cardinals, and Washington Football Team. By the time he retired, Peterson had rushed for 14,985 yards and scored 120 rushing touchdowns, ranking fourth all-time in both categories. He remains one of the most iconic running backs to ever play the game, and his influence on the position cannot be overstated. Even after his official retirement in 2021, Peterson, now 39, has not ruled out a return to the NFL. While the league has increasingly moved away from valuing running backs, especially older ones, Peterson remains confident that he can still contribute to a team. His love for the game, his commitment to staying in shape, and his belief in his own abilities mean that he hasn't completely closed the door on another comeback. If anything, Adrian Peterson's career shows that while the NFL may eventually retire him, his legacy as one of the greatest to ever play the game will live on forever.